Hi, I'm John from HydroKleen. I want to dispel some myths today about your trusty old air conditioner, and I'm going to give you 3 myths. And the first myth is this bit here, which is the outside bit to your split system air conditioner, that's why they call them split systems, is the condenser unit. Now, one of the myths with this condenser unit is people think that this in fact draws air from the outside and blows it to the inside, and that is a myth. Absolutely incorrect. What the condenser unit does is it houses a compressor, and it has some coil on the back of it and all of the electrics up in here, and I'll show you that in a minute. What this does is in fact pumps the cold air or the hot air or the hot fluid gas up into the head unit, and when it comes back down to the condenser unit, this cools it or heats it up. So in the summer it'll cool the gas down so it goes back cold again, and in the winter it's the reverse. And it's got a big fan on the front here, so on a hot summer's day, if you're standing in front of that, the air coming out of here will be very hot. And that's in fact what a condenser does. It doesn't pump clean air into your house. The trusty old air conditioner that you can see up here actually draws air from inside the room through the filters and blows it back out. So it actually recirculates the air in the room that it's in. That's the first myth. So let's just have a look inside the top of this. So we'll just get Brian to bring the camera in, and you can see in the top corner here is in fact the electrics, and that is all very well covered, so it can't get water in it. These things are tested in their factory before they come out, and they just blow lots of water in there to make sure that it doesn't get into here. The one thing that will stop these is if the fan stops, this doesn't work properly because it doesn't draw the air through to cool or heat the gas. Equally, you can get little geckos and critters that can get up in here. They shouldn't, but sometimes they do, and they get on that circuit board there, and if they do that, sometimes it can short the board out. So there's always problems with that. That's why you need to get them cleaned and keep them maintained. Okay, so let's talk about the second myth. The second myth is really with your filters. Now, the filters on domestic air conditioners or small air conditioners like these, you can actually see through them. I'm going to hold that up. You can see I've cleaned portions of this. I'll just get Brian to come in and do a close-up on this filter. So you can see here where we haven't cleaned it and where we have cleaned it. Now you can see very clearly that you can see through that. Now if you can see through that, stuff can get through it. Just to give you an idea, the thickness of your hair, one hair on your head, is about 80 to 100 microns. So if you could actually put 80 little dots in a row, that's the thickness of a human hair, and a human hair will actually pass through that. So a lot of your mold spores and your bacteria and your dust and stuff that floats around in the air is around 0 microns to 10 microns in size, and some of it's even less than that. So they just go straight through this. So when this is sitting on here, it's catching the big bits of dust and stuff that are floating around, but it certainly doesn't catch the little bits. And you can see, and Brian will get a close-up of this, where we've cleaned a little bit of the coil here, but you can see where dirt and stuff has got onto this coil and it stops it working. Once dirt gets onto that coil and onto those fins, then the poor old compressor in the condenser unit has to work so hard to cool the air down that it just runs harder and harder. Therefore it uses more and more power. And the same with the barrel fan up in here that blows the air out. This one is in fact very mouldy up in here. And the little blades on the barrel fan, of which is about 400 of them, just get stuff on them, and it stops the air circulating properly from off the fan. So it's imperative that you clean this and clean that when you clean these, and you should do this if you use it reasonably regularly over a year. You really need to be cleaning these once a year because they will save you a lot of power, give you healthy air, and it makes them last longer as well. So that's your second myth. The third and final myth is something that really annoys me. At the beginning of summer, on all of the TV stations, you see people come on saying how to save power over the summer or how to save power in the winter. And the one thing that they say is you must turn your air conditioner to 24 degrees on your remote. Now that's fine, providing that the air conditioner is clean and not like this, because this air conditioner here, if you were to run it on 24, would have to work really hard to give you the cold air that a clean air conditioner at the same temperature would. And also the temperature in some places can vary. If it's very humid, like, and we'll just take Darwin, which gets extremely humid in the wet season, running an air conditioner at 24 just isn't going to cut the mustard. It will not keep the room cool. You will have to get it down to 22 and sometimes even 20. That depends on the size of the room that you're trying to cool. If you've got an undersized air conditioner in an oversized room, obviously you're going to have to bring the temperature down to keep that room cool. But in an ideal situation, 24 is fine, providing that you don't have very high humidity and very high temperature and that your air conditioner is clean. Now, there is a big relevance between setting a air conditioner on 24. If you do that, the air that comes off here will actually come off at about 10 degrees less. So if you're running your air conditioner at 24, the air that comes off here, and we're actually going to demonstrate this with air conditioners in our foyer in a minute, the air coming off here should be at about 14 degrees. If you set this at 22, the air coming off here should be at about 12. That's rule of thumb. So when we test air conditioners to see that they're working correctly, we test it with one of these temperature guns here, and we actually just measure the cold air coming off here to make sure that it is reading correctly. If it's reading high, it can mean that the unit may need some gas and or that there is something else wrong with it, and that's where you need to involve a technician to perhaps have a look at it. But generally, when we check an air conditioner when we're cleaning it, if we've got it set on 24 and we're getting a reading of 14 or 15 here, then that's about right. When we clean it, what happens is that the temperature pulls down almost instantly. When you've got a dirty air conditioner and you switch it on, two things will happen. It'll probably smell bad, and it will take quite a long time to pull down because the poor old compressor is trying to draw air over dirty fins, and it can't get to the clean fins or the clean part of the fins to get the air cool. So it just takes a lot longer to cool. Another reason why you need to keep them clean. So we're actually going to go upstairs and we're going to demonstrate this in our foyer and just show you on the gun exactly how they work. Okay, here we are in the reception of our of HydroKleen Australia, and I'm going to just show you an example of the remote that the temperature shows and the air actually coming off this air conditioner here. Now this air conditioner here is in fact air conditioning an area which is really too big for this sized air conditioner. So when it gets really hot and humid here, when the temperature gets up around 30, 31 and it's very humid, this air conditioner struggles, but right now it's okay. So let's have a look at the temperature. So you can see there the temperature is 12, and you'll see on the remote it's set at 22, which means in fact the air conditioner is perfect. Everything's running according to Hoyle. So remember what I said, 10 degrees between what's on the remote and the air coming off the air conditioner is about what it should be. The only exception to that is when that gets really, really dirty and the barrel fan gets really, really dirty, sometimes you can get a lower reading. You'll get 3 or 4 degrees coming off the barrel fan. That's because there's not enough airflow in the plenum up the back of the air conditioner to actually get the air out. So it actually starts to freeze up or ice up because there's not enough airflow. So that's really the exception to the rule. Often you'll clean a really dirty air conditioner and the temperature will actually go up rather than come down.